Hello, and welcome to, oh goodness, I think this is part 6 of Meeting in the Flesh. This was one of the first series I actually did on my channel. No, it was the first series, because Red Trees was the first video, and then I did Meeting in the Flesh. I've since gotten a better mic, aka I swiped my partner's. Swiped his headset, instead of using my gaming headset. But anyways, yeah, so the thing is with this video, I'm not gonna start from the beginning, like re-record all that, because that's like video 1 and 2 that's already in the playlist of Meeting in the Flesh. I don't really feel like a point of re-recording it, even though the audio would be significantly better, so maybe it's just me being lazy, I don't know. I already know what happens, I don't want to replay through it. However, picking up from, I think it's towards the end of part 2, it's day 2 in game. You have to, that's when you decide which route you're gonna do. And I ended up doing Bertan's route, the werewolf himbo. This time, however, I will be doing, what's his name? Oh, I called him Naya. And the rest of the playthrough, because I couldn't say his name, that it sounded really bad. I called him Naya. He's the little blob guy with a bunch of mouths, and he beekeeps. And I don't know, I just thought his route gave me like intriguing vibes, so I really wanted to go back and play it. Which shout out to Leon for wanting me to play this series. And then I played it, and then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna, I think, do another route. And then it's been, I don't know, like a month, 2 months, something like that. Bet you thought I forgot about it, but I didn't. I didn't forget. I've just been distracted with other games like Citizen Sleeper. But yeah, I don't know, I felt like doing something a little more low-key today. Citizen Sleeper, so stressful. It's, But this, it's not like a whole lot to it. I can just read. It's not very stressful. Pretty relaxed. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. And you know, it's the start of October. Need some slightly spooky vibes to like start off the month. Which after this, I am probably going to be starting a series where I play through Spooktober visual novels that were entered in the jam. The same jam that me and my friend's visual novel is entered into. It's called Platonic. Should check it out if you're interested in visual novels. But anyways, getting past the preamble, very long preamble, yeah, I just want to kind of jump back in, do like a really brief recap leading up to the like scene with Naya on the second day, and then we're just gonna jump straight back into his route. Yeah, if you missed my earlier videos, and you just wanted to see Naya, I guess, like his route, the day 1 stuff would be in part 1 and 2, so it's a playlist for that. Anyways, that's enough. Let's get back into it. Zoom zoom. Holy shit, we are zooming. Bye. Sorry. I feel a little bad, but I think it would be best to turn him down. I don't want to risk being late on any deliveries. Yeah, that's why Bertan. Well, sorry, Bertan. My schedule's a little tight today, so now's not the best time. Maybe I can meet you after my route's over? Bertan's ears usually perked up, but they tilt down at that. His tail's also drooping to peek out between his legs. It's obvious he's still trying to sound upbeat, not beat up. Bertan, no, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I do worry about it. Are you sure? I'd be happy to come back here after I'm done with my route. I just don't want to keep anyone waiting. Bertan considers that for a moment before shaking his head. His tail's resumed its gentle wagging. Bertan, yeah, it's fine. On second thought, I guess I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be showing you anyway. So I'll get back to you if I get cleared for it. That'd be great. Thanks for the invitation, though, Bertan. Bertan, no problem. He reaches out a massive paw and gives me a gentle pat to the shoulder. Bertan, you be careful on your new route now, alright? Will do. The slick of damp ground underfoot gives way to firm rock bed as we near the edge of the park. Phil, oh yeah, here. I'd still been holding Bertan's salt packet and hold it out for him to take. Bertan, right, thanks. Good luck on the rest of your route. Phil, thanks. I'll see you later. I tighten the bundle over my shoulder to make sure it's firmly in place, then head off at a steady jog. Halfway down the block, I turn to glance over my shoulder and catch sight of Bertan's fluffy tail slipping back into the foliage of the park. I can't help wondering what it was that Bertan wanted to show me. Part of me feels like I may have missed something big. Oh, you have no idea. But for now, I have to focus on my job. My next delivery is a good few blocks away, so I turn the corner, ramp up into a steady gallop. You, too, would like to know what, Vil is missing out on the big thing. Watch parts, I think it's 3 through 5 of this series. Vil, here you go. Verlan, hard at work today, huh? Yes, sir. Things have been a little hectic today. Can't be helped, huh? Well, I won't keep you. Be careful now. Well, thanks. Have a nice day. I'm starting to get a little out of breath. I usually manage to do my entire route at a steady pace, but today's been a day of ups and downs. But at least I've managed to mostly catch up with my usual schedule, even if I can feel my legs starting to ache a little. I slow from a sprint to a jog so I can go down my list of notes. I've finished most of my route now, with only a few more blocks to run, which is good. A quick glance at the sky confirms that the suns are starting to set already. The sky is tinging their usual musty green. It's starting to get late, which means I'm cutting it a little close. The palpable tension in the air has been rising all day too. There are more people hanging around the streets than usual, some rowdy and causing trouble, others pressed together in quiet intimacy. I turn the corner to take a shortcut down a street and find my foot splashing into a puddle of red. The metallic stench that lingers in the air is unmistakable, and it's cut through with the signature sting of salt. No doubt the remnants of a punishment salt bath. You know, in the other route, we learned that their sky literally rains blood. I'm still confused why they just don't put salt buckets out, honestly. I don't think the violence is necessary. Or multiple salt baths, perhaps. The metal tubs used for salt baths tend to leave behind dark rings of moisture on the ground. There are 3 circles overlapping each other. I can't tell if it's the result of one tub being jostled around or multiple tubs used in quick succession. I quickly move past this site, both because I can't afford to loiter, but also because the combined smell of blood and salt is making me hungry. I haven't had the chance to take a break or eat anything today. I risk a brief glance back as I head down the street. I've left behind a trail of dark footprints radiating out from the pool of blood, but fading with each step until they vanish. The puddle of blood is still there. It will seep into the ground eventually, leaving a dark stain for a while. Kind of like the eclipse, huh? A big happening that will leave an impression for quite a while. I'm not a very poetic person. I feel a little smug for thinking of a comparison like that, but I can't spare too much time to self-congratulatory nonsense. I drag my thoughts away from that drying puddle of blood and look back towards the street. Obu. Have a nice day, Vil. Thanks, you too. I've managed to stay ahead of schedule somehow, though not by a huge margin. I should be able to finish my route on time. And I make the mistake of breathing a quiet sigh of relief to myself as I dash past a block of closed storefronts, closed for the eclipse, and round a corner quickly enough that my claws skid on the ground. I almost slam right into the bustling crowd that's loitering around, breathing in huge lungfuls of sweet, honey-scented air. What's going on? Usually never this crowded. Vil. Sorry, excuse me. Passing through. Sorry, I have to get through here. I gingerly squeeze past the crowd of people. Turns out these people have formed a line that trails out from Naya's bee store, but the line has grown tangled and messy as it trails out into the streets. Getting past them is a struggle, and more than a few people shoot me dirty looks that I have to pacify by shifting the bundle on my shoulders and clarifying that I'm just here to make a delivery. Most grumble but grudgingly let me through. Good. I forgot how tongue-tied I get when I read these. By these long text paragraphs. Yeah. A cluster of people blocks my path near the entrance. I wait for a few people to finish their business and exit so I can slip in as the next customers enter. I check over my bundle while waiting, peeking through the folds of fabric to check how many more deliveries I have to make, although I lose count when I'm distracted by a conversation going on nearby. Onlooker, you've heard the rumors about the guy running the store, right? Onlooker, I haven't. What do they say about him? They say this guy sucks the energy out of other people. Roll my eyes while my head's ducked. I haven't heard these rumors myself, but it sounds silly. I've never heard of anyone eating anything other than water and salt with additives, much less sucking the energy out of other people. No way, that's creepy. Oh. Right? But it makes sense, doesn't it? With how gruff this guy usually is. Yeah, he always feels kind of, off, you know? Maybe that's why he has the store, you know? To learn victims. The two of them laugh raucously. I tighten my bundle across my shoulders and ignore whatever else they're saying. It's all nonsense. Nyargh shouldn't have to put up with this. He's a good guy. Hopefully these idiots won't actually say the stuff to his face. Fortunately, a small cluster of excited customers exit the store the next moment, and I take the chance to slip inside, murmuring that I'm just here to make a delivery and I'll be out soon. Inside the store, I manage to weave my way past the crowds of people looking at bees and find Nyargh near the back of the store, where he mans the counter alone. All of his tentacles are hard at work, managing 6 different tasks at once, and his teeth are bared as he breathes in deep, rasping breaths. Deep, rasping puffs. He must be stressed. Vil. Hey, Nyargh. Nyargh. Hello, Vil. Now that I register it, whenever he talks, all of his mouths open, for all of these. Does he speak with one mouth or all mouths simultaneously? He doesn't even turn my way. Not that I can blame him. He's busy dealing with a customer on one side, packing up a bottle of honey with one set of tentacles and soothing an agitated bee with 2 others. The smell of honey in the air is almost dizzying, stirred up by the constant movement of people in the store, and I can't help but taking a deep breath before busying myself in doing my bundle. Vil, busy day today, huh? Nyargh, sure is. His tentacles swiftly wrap a bottle of honey in fabric, then tie a piece of twine into a bow to secure it. His customer thanks him profusely before leaving with their purchase in hand, babbling excitedly to their friend about how tonight will be a special treat. Nyargh, seeing everyone happy about their purchases makes it worth it, though. His voice is as gruff as ever, but the corners of his lips quirk just a fraction. He really does seem happy when his customers are happy. Vil, seems like it. I hurry to pull a package of salt from my bundle, double-checking my notes to make sure I have the right packet for him, then lay it on the counter. I'd hand it to him, but all of his tentacles are occupied packaging 2 different orders at the same time. Vil, I'll leave this here for you, alright? With how busy the store is, it would be best if I don't take up too much of Nyargh's time. I give a little nod and turn to leave, and the touch of a tentacle against my shoulder stops me. Nyargh. Vil? He sounds serious. He always sounds a little serious, of course, but this feels different. Vil. Yes? There's a pause. Nyargh's tentacles never stop moving, neatly processing and wrapping orders for customers standing on the other side of the counter. The tentacle resting against my shoulder only squeezes slightly. He addresses a customer first, wishing them a nice day as he hands them their package, before turning slightly towards me. Nyargh, if you could spare the time, would you mind helping me out a little? I'm a little surprised. Not about the request itself. Any reasonable person would ask for help managing a store this busy, but because I've never seen Nyargh ask anyone for help before. And I get to say yes this time. I felt awful saying no last time. Obviously I didn't have a choice. In the matter because I was doing Britannia's route, and you can only say yes to one of them. But I felt terrible. I can't help feeling a little flattered that he had asked. That said, I need to think this over for a moment. Reaching back, I test the weight of my bundle with my hands, trying to gauge how much time I would need to deliver all of these before the end of the day. There aren't too many, and I should be able to get them all in... time as long as I rush a little bit. But they're also not terribly close together, and I know my pace slows as I grow tired near the end of the day. I don't have a lot of time to spare. On the other hand, this feels important. Even if it's only a small favor that Nya's asked of me, the fact that it's coming from someone so quiet and self-sufficient lends that simple request extra weight. What should I do? I just helped none of them. Okay, that's actually probably an ending where you like spend the eclipse alone. And I feel like that would actually be kind of funny to get. But that's not what we're here for. That's not what we're here for. Help Nyargh out for a bit. I think it would be best if I spared a little time to help Nyargh out. Pride in part makes the decision for me. If I stay, my schedule will certainly be tight, but I know it's... If I could speak, that would be phenomenal. But I know that it's not beyond my capabilities. I know my delivery pace, and I'm well aware of what I'm capable of. If I use the excuse of a tight schedule to say no to Nyargh here, I know I'd feel a little embarrassed about it later. After all, if Nyargh is asking me to help him at this very important moment, I should be able to do what I can to help. Especially if I know it's within my capabilities. I make the mistake of taking a deep breath. The dizzying scent of honey makes my head spin, and I'm frozen for a moment before I can gather my thoughts. I shake my head, take a shallower breath, and then nod firmly. Well, alright, I can stay for a bit. If Nyargh had eyes, I think he'd be blinking at me. As is, his own movements pause for a second, his tentacles caught halfway through their actions before abruptly resuming. As if Nyargh wants to hide his surprise and hesitation. Nyargh, are you sure? Bill, of course. Might have to coach me on what to do, but I'm happy to help with whatever I can. I smile as I take off my bundle and stow it off to the side beneath the counter, where it hopefully won't get trampled. Then I pull back the roomy folds of my cloak to free my hands. It's warm in here, I don't need to be so covered up, and I don't want anything to hinder my movements. Nyargh looks like he needs all the help he can get, so I'd like to be as useful as possible. What should I do? One of Nyargh's mouth licks its lips, and I hear the sound of several throats clearing. So he talks with multiple throats or voices, I bet. Multiple mouths. Nyargh, can you start by packaging up those bottles? A tentacle gestures at a shelf stacked with bottles of honey. A pile of pre-cut fabric pieces and a big roll of twine occupies a nearby table. I flash Nyargh a grin, feeling the raw skin on my face crinkle from the gesture. It comes out slightly... saturine? But it feels rare for Nyargh to ever seem pressured, so I want to be reassuring. Leave it to me. I turn towards the shelf without waiting for a response, moving a big armful of bottles to the table so I have everything easily within reach. But faintly, I think I hear Nyargh grunt. Thanks. The work ends up being a little harder than I expected. My hands are big and rough and calloused, perfect for finding purchase in rough streets and spending long hours at a steady gallop, but I'm less used to work like this. The twine especially turns out to be a challenge. Wrapping the bottles in fabric is easy enough, but tying the twine off into neat ribbons is difficult. The first few packages I hand over to Nyargh take a little longer than I'd like, and I notice Nyargh sparing 2 tentacles to wrap a few bottles himself in order to keep pace with orders coming in. When each package takes me 2 or 3 tries to tie a proper ribbon, I can feel frustration starting to seep through me. It must show in my actions, because after finishing up another package, Nyargh briefly lays a tentacle over my hand. Nyargh, you're doing fine. It's harder if you rush. Nyargh's voice is a low rumble, finishing off with a click of his teeth. It's neither gentle nor quiet, fighting to be heard over the din in the store. Still, the way his tentacle pats at my wrist once, twice, before returning to work is calming. Helps me figure out how to approach this work. Deep breath. And calm down. Focus harder on the work. Try and take a deep breath. Chill. Like Naya said, rushing won't solve anything. I need to calm down. Eyes closed, I take in a slow, deep breath. Breathing in slowly like this, the sweet scent of honey flows into and over me like a warm blanket, settling heavily over my flickering nerves. Helps me calm down immediately. Well, alright. Open my eyes and look towards Naya, giving him a small nod. Dirty back to focusing on his own work, but I think I spot a pair of lips quirking into a slight smile at my response. Bill, I think I can handle it. Thanks. I think I'm getting used to the work. It should be easier once I fall into a nice rhythm. As I return to focusing on the task at hand, even the mummers from the crowd eventually fade to a low buzz in the distance. After a while, my hands start moving automatically. Pick up the bottle, wrap it in fabric, bring the twine around it, tie off a neat ribbon. Relaxed by Naya's advice and the sweet scent in the air, I find myself working peacefully, my mind wandering comfortably. I even find the time to soothe a stray bee that comes bumbling up to rub against my side. Naya doesn't have to tend to packaging bottles after a while, leaving the task to me so we can focus on tending to the customers. Despite the bustle of customers, the atmosphere of the store is warm and comfortable, and I find myself feeling right at home. At some points, a couple of bees have wandered over to inspect me, then fallen asleep at my side. I can feel their fuzzy bodies vibrate slightly with their rapid breaths, the presence cushioning warm and soft around me. Absorbed in the moment, I almost lost track of time. It's a gentle touch to the shoulder that grabs my attention, and I look up to see Naya turn towards me. Naya, Bill, are you all right on time? Bill, oh. I glance up towards the clock hanging on the wall behind Naya, its feelers ticking away gently with each second. Bill, I should leave soon. I'll just finish up what I was doing. I just have a few more of these left to do. Naya, actually, Bill. I just grabbed up another bottle and a patch of fabric when the low hum of Naya's voice gives me pause. Naya, you can leave the wrapping to me, but would you mind grabbing me more bottles from that shelf over there? He's in the middle of tending to a customer, gently swaddling a trio of bottles and a large square of fabric to serve as a makeshift bag. One tentacle points over my back towards a shelf against the wall that's neatly stocked with bottles upon bottles of honey. It's only a second glance that I realize the stock of bottles behind the counter is running low. Business must have been booming in the time that I lost to my work. Bill, sure thing. Naya, thanks. Clambered to my feet, making sure not to knock over anything. As I slip out from behind the counter, the crowd's mostly thinned out, allowing me to move between people more easily as I make my way towards the shelf and hike the folds of my cloak up past my elbows once more, just to make sure they don't get in the way. What looks to be a small family is looking over the shelf when I approach it, and I excuse myself as I step past them. The jostling of glass bottles catches the attention of the small child they've brought along, and I look over when I feel eyes on me, realizing then that the child is staring at me. They look awfully displeased, wide mouth flattened to a thin line with just a peak of fangs poking through. Bill, can I help you? I smile a little at the child, just enough to seem friendly without crinkling the raw skin of my face so hard that pus seeps through. The child seems unimpressed, all four eyes squinting at me. Child, I don't like it here. I don't like it here. The pouting voice is just enough to catch the attention of the parents, who look over at me. One gives me an apologetic smile. I smile back before returning my attention to the child. Bill, why not? Listen, who cares? Fuck them kids. No. Some kid just like, I don't like this. Bill's just like, time to tend the child. The kid's fine. Bill, doesn't it smell nice here? Crinkling at the nose and hands clenched tight tells me the answer is no. Child, no, it smells too much. I don't like this smell. It's a curious response. I don't think I've ever met anyone who doesn't like the smell of honey. There's a reason it's considered such a universal luxury and treat. One of the parents shakes their head in mild exasperation, but I consider my words for a moment before responding. It's certainly rare for anyone to openly dislike honey, but maybe they'll like it in time. It's alright to not like it. They like anything else. Probably one of the two second responses, because, like, one of the 2 second responses. One of the the middle or the last option. Because like yeah, it's fine not to like something other people like. Like, I frickin' hate soda. I hate all carbonated drinks. Every last one of them. I hate carbonation. I will never find a carbonated drink I like. And it's been a thing since I was a little kid, and it was always so annoying because everyone was like, "Oh my god, you don't like soda?" And I was like, "No." It feels like acid eating in my mouth. But like, yeah, no, it's fine to like dislike things. I do kind of want to do they like anything else though? Because then it's like, I feel like with kids, you need to redirect them sometimes. Like, I don't have a lot of kid experience, but like, you know, you can engage them kind of. I don't know. That's what I've always done whenever I'm talking to them. It's like, oh, like, what do you think about this? Like, it's good to treat them, like, talk to them like they're adults and to, like, engage them with questions. I'm also thinking about this entirely too critically. It does not probably matter whatsoever. Classic. Peach Poncho, overthinking everything. Let's see. Do you like anything else? Well, if they don't like honey very much, then maybe they like something else. After a moment of thought, I crouched down so I'm closer to the child's eye level, keeping my weight carefully balanced on my hands. The child looks at me with a mixed curiosity and caution. Well, then can I ask what you like? Child, what I like? I nod and wait for them to answer. The child hems and haws, gnawing on their own hand, and I take the opportunity to glance up at the parents. They give me a slightly exasperated smile, no doubt accustomed to dealing with their child's antics, but nudge the child to answer. The child finally extricates spittle-soaked claws from its mouth to tell me. Child, I like blood more. Okay, you and Bill get along great. I grin widely. I could feel the raw skin on my face stretch from the movement, but the child doesn't seem to mind. Bill, that's neat. I really like blood too. Blood salt is one of my favorites. Child, it's my favorite. My moms and dad get me some on my birthday. Well, you're so lucky. That sounds really great. Hope you get a bunch on your next birthday too. Child, I will. That is actually really cute. If you ignore the fact that both this child and Bill, like, their favorite food comes from torturing people. If you ignored that, it's really cute. My parents laugh quietly at the firm conviction in the child's voice. Seeming embarrassed, the child quickly turns away and buries their face in their parents' clothes, stamping their feet slightly on the floor. Though muffled against the fabric, I can hear the quiet sounds of them whining. Stop laughing. I settle for grinning to myself as I pile my arms high with bottles of honey, and give the parents a small nod as I make my way back to the counter. I can still hear the sounds of the parents quietly chiding the child. As I round the corner to where Naya is diligently wrapping up 3 bottles of honey at a time. Naya, looks like you made a friend. Naya speaks at a low rumble, even as he keeps working, and I laugh. Bill, I wouldn't know about that, but at least I haven't made any enemies. I get a soft huff in return. For a few moments, the air is punctured only by the sounds of wrapping fabric rustling and the rhythmic thump-thump as I carefully down bottles one by one. When I glance over at the store floor, one of the parents has picked the child up so they can look at the higher-up bee cages together. Naya, they're regulars. Bill, oh? Naya, come by once in a while. Kid never seems too happy about it. Always felt a little bad about it. Kid never seems too happy, always felt a little bad about it. So, it's good of you to humor them a little. Well, I didn't do anything special. Feels rare for Naya to praise anyone so openly, and I feel oddly sheepish about it. Settling down the last few bottles on the shelf, I quickly look them over for any cracks or damage. Well, I just said what anyone else would say. Naya, you'd be surprised. Another huff from Naya, louder this time, and I look over to see a brief grit of teeth before he purses his lips. Sometimes people aren't flexible enough. Don't consider that other people think differently. So you did something good for the kid. His voice is firm. I get the odd feeling that acting too modest right now isn't the right thing to do, so I end up nodding even as I feel my own face warm a little. Thanks. Luckily, it doesn't take much longer to stock the shelf behind the counter. With this many bottles on hand, Nyargh should be able to see out the rest of the day without much trouble, I think. I dust my hands off before grabbing my pack, double-checking the floor to make sure I haven't dropped any salt packets. With how far behind schedule I already am, it would be disastrous if I left behind a delivery packet and had to come back for it. Well, Nyargh, I have to get going. Nyargh's tentacles stop moving as he turns to look at me with his full attention. It makes me feel weirdly self-conscious, and my voice catches in my throat for a moment. Is that alright? Nyargh, of course. He gives a solemn nod in response. Thank you very much, Phil. Nyargh's voice vibrates deeper than usual. He tends to speak quietly, without much emphasis, but his words at the moment feel oddly weighty. Like he's saying something he considers very important. I shake my head and give him a smile. Phil, it's no problem at all. I'm glad I could help. Nyargh, you don't need to be so humble. I know you took valuable time out of your route to help me, and I appreciate it greatly. You helped me tremendously. I'm reminded of the fact that Nyargh usually mans the store alone, always. Even for those who have good energy and stamina, it's unusual for anyone to run a store completely alone, so maybe it means that much more for Nyargh that I decided to stay and help. Really can't afford to lose any more time, so I start adjusting the straps of my pack and the folds of my robe even as I nod. Well, I'm really glad I could help. If you ever need any help on another day, just let me know. Nyargh gives an almost imperceptible nod, watching as I start to round the corner to leave, but stops me at the last moment. Nyargh, Phil? Yes? Perhaps sensing my need to leave quickly, he answers promptly. Nyargh, I'd like to show you my appreciation with more than words. If you have time after you finish your route, I'd like it if you came by the store afterwards. Oh, it's a curious proposal. I've never visited Nyargh's store so late. I hesitate for only a moment before grinning and nodding. Phil, sure, I can probably do that, thanks. Nyargh, be safe. Good luck on your route. Thanks. He sees me off without any more fanfare, returning to his work and only sparing one tentacle to give me a wave as I head out the door. As I exit the store, a fresh gaggle of customers approaches the door, no doubt looking to make some last-minute honey or bee purchases. As rushed as I am, make sure to hold the door open for them before starting down the street. The sweet smell of honey accompanies me for a few paces before slowly loosening its grip on me, allowing the bite of a plain air to return to my lungs, a reminder of the job I have to do. Still, as I quickly ramp up into a steady gallop, I am briefly reminded of the way Nyargh had thanked me, the deep rumble of his voice, the intense focus with which he'd regarded me with, the gravity of his words. Salt delivery is such a routine job that few people appreciate it on a daily basis, so being thanked so sincerely for anything feels unusual, in a good way. The thought that I was able to help Nyargh in such a meaningful way gives me a warm feeling in the pit of my stomach, and my pace quickens as I wind through the scattering of people on the street. I should keep up the good work so I can end the day feeling good. Time to focus on my route. Tyler. Tyler. Thanks, Phil. Seems like you had a busy day, huh? You're cutting it pretty close. Phil, yeah, things have been a little hectic today. Tyler, I can imagine, since tomorrow's the big day and all. Good work, you should go rest up. Phil, thanks. I will. Have a good night. Tyler, you too. Even smiling feels exhausting after the long day, but I still make sure to wave as I trot off, pawing at my pack to make sure all my deliveries have been taken care of. All done, and with barely a minute to spare, I really did cut things pretty close. But at the same time, I don't regret it. It feels like what happened today was pivotal. It feels like what happened today was pivotal, and absolutely worth a bit of extra running. I end up taking a long route back home, backtracking a little bit. I walk past the Overlook office, which continues to watch silently over the city, Spire's eyeballs lazily cast over the landscape, though they blink slowly now and again as if growing tired. I cut through the park. The atmosphere here is different after dark, the spindly trees casting twisting shadows across uneven ground. The air feels colder too, and feels different without Bertan's boisterous presence walking by me. I'm feeling quite exhausted by the time I make my way past the row of stores. My feet feel sore, a hot ache working its way through my ankles and up the lengths of my legs, all the way to the pit of my stomach. Even my arms hurt from bracing against the ground. I'd thought I'd long since grown used to the physical strain of running my route, but today had certainly been a long day. My mind is occupied keeping tally of how many different places my body aches, and I almost walk right into the end of the block before the warm glow of a store window catches my attention. Naya's store. His generous invitation races to the forefront of my mind. Of course, how could I have forgotten? Even the exhaustion seeping through my body is briefly forgotten, replaced by a small warm thrill working its way outward from the very core of my chest. I'm a little excited. Almost every other store is closed by now, their lights dimmed, though a few remain open, and see the owners bustling inside, neatening up their displays to close up for the night. Naya's storefront is the only one still lit, a warm glow of honeyed lights filtered out past the glass and spilling onto the ground below. As I draw closer, I can see the faint movements of a few restless bees moving about in their cages. The store is otherwise empty. A small, handwritten sign on the door has been flipped from open to closed. Maybe Naya also forgot. No, I think he just doesn't want other customers coming in. I drift towards the door, trying to peek through the little window to see if he's inside, but it swings open before I can get that close. Naya, there you are. I was worried I'd made you too late to finish your route. Shake my head smiling. It's kind of him to worry. Well, I managed to finish it on time, though it was admittedly a close call. Today has been an interesting day, but I'll be happy if I don't have to run that many deliveries again in one day. Naya nods sympathetically before holding the door open wider. The smell of honey comes wafting outwards, and I can hear the faint chittering of a pair of bees arguing with each other. So cute. I love the bees. Some of the ache in my muscles seems to melt away already, and I eagerly stumble forward through the open doorway. Well, thanks, Naya. Naya, don't mention it. And that is where I'm gonna end today's video. Yeah, we're gonna pick up here next time in the next part. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe. I don't know, it's nice revisiting this series. I did like Bertan's route, I did. However, I do feel like I'm gonna like Naya's more. Like, he just feels like a funky, cool little guy. I like him. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get this out fairly quickly. I don't know. It'll actually, you know what? I'm recording like start of October. It's probably gonna be like a week before this goes up. Yeah. Anyways, you don't need to worry about that. That's none of your concern. I hope you enjoyed the video. I appreciate you joining me, and I hope you'll join me in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye!